Started recording for you guys. Okay. So today's topic of discussion is constructor in Java. So let's take a first real world example. So if I have a common man's car and I have a prime minister's car, prime minister is a VIP person. So common man's car and a VIP person's car. What extra privileges does the VIP person's car enjoy over the common man's car? The VIP car will not halt at any signal. It will pass through the traffic uninterrupted. It will have a siren and a red light, which this will not have. It will have a bulletproof windshield and windows, which this will not have. If this VIP person wants to board a flight, he can take his car directly to the runway, and common man has to park his car in the parking. So constructor, or like any other function, is a function, but it is a VIP function. So we have other functions such as accept and display, right? So if I have an accept class, so I have a function called accept student, display student. So these are also functions, right? Getters, setters, these are also my functions, right? But these are my normal functions, common functions. And constructor also is a function, but constructor is a VIP function. So what does the constructor enjoy extra which the other function do not enjoy? First, the constructor's name will be same as the class name. So if I have a class student, how will I name the accept student? It's up to me. I can name it anyhow. Public void accept student, right? But how will I name the constructor of the student class? The name of the class becomes the name of the method. The name of the class becomes the name of the method. So what is the class name? So what will be the constructor name? So the name of the constructor method is same as the class name. First privilege. Okay. Except function is not returning any value. So what do I prefix before such functions? If a function doesn't return any value, what do I prefix before that function? Void. Constructor also does not return any value. So ideally I should have returned over there. What should have been prefixed over here? Void. It does not even prefix void. So neither it will return any value, will not return any value, nor will it prefix void. Okay? Okay. So will the constructor prefix void keyword? Will the constructor return any value? No. So will the constructor prefix void keyword? No. So that is an extra privilege to the constructor only. That does not return any value and does not prefix void. Okay. I can write this function, the normal functions, in public, private, as per my business need. Okay, so I can write public void accept student also, and I can write private void accept student also. As per my needs, I can write them. Correct? But constructor 99% time will be. There are very few scenarios in which we have to make constructor as private. Okay, but for beginner level, okay, till you all go to advanced Java, just remember constructor will be public. Okay, so 99% time it will be what? So let me add this extra privilege over here. So 2A. Okay, what I was saying, 99.9%. Okay, times constructor can I make a constructor as private? Yes, no, maybe. Yes, see, I did not say 100%. I said what? So constructor can be made private, but those use cases are very less. Okay. So always just write the public keyword and write the name of the class and then round brackets to indicate it is a function. Okay. Now I have written this function accept student. When will the code of this function be executed? When I call this through an object. So I have to go in some other class. In the driver class I will go make an object of which class? Student S1 is new student, and then with the help of this object what to do? Call the accept student function. Yes or no? So call the function. So unless and until I call the function, the code will not be executed. So if I have written over here some function SOP high, when will it display me high? When will the high be displayed? When will the high be displayed? When we have to call the function, that time only. So if I write the function but I do not call it, will the code be executed? So when is the function call executed? Function code executed? When the function is called. So we have to call the function explicitly, right? Constructor is not called explicitly. Constructor gets called internally, implicitly. When I create the object of the class using new keyword. So whenever I create any object using which keyword, the constructor gets called internally. So this is extra privilege given to the constructor only. So other functions I have to call them. Constructor gets called internally. What time? When does the constructor get called? When I create an object of the class using. So here, have I made an object of the class using new keyword? Yes. So the constructor will be called. No need to call the constructor explicitly. So do not try to do this. Do not. So when I do this, s1 dot student, will I try to execute this code to call the constructor? Constructor name is student, right? So to call the constructor, will I do like this? So I will not explicitly call the constructor. Constructor will be called implicitly. What time? When you create an object using new. And then we can have multiple constructors in the same class. We can have multiple constructors in the same class. So this is my class student. Okay, this is one constructor, and I can have one more constructor, but the parameter should change. The parameter should change. Okay, so we are having two constructors. They should have two different parameter lists. So now how many constructors do I have? 1 and 2. That is called as constructor overloading. What is this called? I can write multiple constructors in the same class. This is referred as. Okay. And one more privilege the constructor enjoys is when we use super keyword. Okay, so when we will do inheritance, I'll go in detail about this. So I have parked this. So super keyword usage is different in context of constructor, and super keyword usage is different in context of common methods. So using super, I can call the constructor also, and I can call the, but the way of calling is different. Constructor is called in a different way, and these methods are called in a. So these are some extra privileges which the constructor enjoys over normal function. Okay, very important topic. And what is the purpose of the constructor? By definition, the job of the constructor is this. What is the job of the constructor by definition? It is used to initialize the instance variable. Which variables? Instance variables. What are instance variables? object variables. For each object they have exclusive values. And what are class variables? Static variables. For the entire class only one copy of that variable is maintained and all the objects access that copy only. If any object modifies that copy, it gets modified for all the objects. And class variables are accessed using class name, and we prefix the static keyword while declaring them, right? So for constructors I will mostly use for initializing which variables? Instance variable. I will try to initialize the instance variable using constructor. So whenever the object will be created, the starting values will be provided by the constructor. Later on, if you want, you can change it by calling accept function or by calling setter functions. But the starting value will be given by the cons. That is called the initial value. Okay. This was done. Then there are 4 types of constructors in Java. How many types of constructors? 4. So I had discussed 4 scenarios that day. Okay. So I had taken a hospital example, and there is this chap, Mr. Shailesh Patil. Okay, and he is an influencer. Okay, he has some political influence, so he can try to create a scene if he wants to. So his wife, Mrs. Kavita Patil, she gets admitted to the hospital for the birth of a child. So when she gets admitted, a file is made by her name. Patient name is Kavita Patil, gender female, date of birth, and the doctor who is visiting. So the doctor who is visiting is a gynecologist. Okay, after 24 hours, a kid is born to her, baby girl. So will they record the prescription of the baby girl also in the mother's file, or will a separate file will be made for the baby girl? Because she is a different, separate patient, because a new doctor will be visiting her, a pediatrician. So a new file is made. So what will be the name of the, what name will be put on the patient name? She just born few hours ago. So these 4 ways we can name. We can put a name. So if a new intern has joined the hospital, she is a nurse and she has joined for her internship, and today is her first day. So is she experienced enough? No, she doesn't know how they operate. So if she puts any generic names, like if she puts nil, or if she puts XYZ, or if she puts null, or if she puts a dash, and this file goes to Shailesh Patil, that please pay the admission charges and bed charges and pay the advance, and he sees this, will it please the father or will it offend the father? It will please the father. He will be happy by reading such names. Will the father be happy? He will get offended, right? So he might try to create a scene in the hospital. So this is not at all appreciated. Scenario number 1, not at all appreciated. Okay. Then second scenario, a tenured experienced nurse is there. She is working in the hospital for the past 25 years. So she has full experience. So what do these guys do? They have a very common way of naming a newborn baby. They say baby of. All the standard hospitals follow this. Baby of mother name. So what will they write? What is the standard name of naming a file for a newborn baby? Baby of mother name. Okay. So now if this file goes to Shailesh Patil, does he have any reasons to get offended? No. So this is the standard protocol. So if 10 kids were born in the hospital that day, all them will have the same naming convention, baby of mother name, baby of mother name, baby of mother name. This is the standard. This is scenario number 2. This is for all. This is for all. So if there are 10 hospitals in that city, and in each hospital 10 kids are being born on a day, how many kids are born on an average? 100. What will be the name on the file of those 100 students, 100 kids? Baby of mother name, baby of mother name. So like this, if I have 10 cities, 10 hospitals in one city, how many hospitals? 10. Like this, I have 10 cities. Now, how many hospitals? 100 hospitals. They will follow the same. Like this, I have 10 states. Each state has 10 city. Each city has 10 hospital. Now, 1000. So, how will they name the newborn baby file? All these 1000 babies? Baby on. So, this is universal and it is common for all. Okay. Second scenario. Third scenario, now this baby was going to be born. The parents had well in advance aware of it, right? So they had shortlisted some names. That if a boy is born, we will name him Virat, and if a girl is born, we will name her Anushka. They had shortlisted the names. So now gender is, so as the baby is born, the nurse comes and discloses the gender. It's a baby girl. So they're happy. So what is the name now of this girl? Anushka. So Shailesh Patil walks up to the receptionist and says, when you prepare the file of my daughter, do not write baby of mother name. Directly write Anushka Shailesh Patil. Right? Because we have short listed the name, because the area which we belong, we have to submit this file to the birth certificate office, to the municipality office. And the name which will be printed on the birth certificate will be the name which is there on the file. So we don't want to create any confusion over there. So directly write what? So now when Shailesh Patil submits this file to the birth certificate office, to the PMC office, what will be the name on the birth certificate? Right? So now this name, is it universal for all or customized for this particular parents only? Customized for this. So if 1000 kids have been born in that state, will how many kids name will have the file Anushka Shailesh Patil? Only one. So this is a customized name we have created only for a exclusive condition. So this also is possible only for exclusive name. Okay, so if I want name as per my specifications only, then I can make it what? Exclusive, right? Okay. Third scenario done. Fourth scenario, they did not want baby of, this is not at all appreciated. So no parent would want to write nil xyz slash unknown. So this is not appreciated. They did not want baby of mother name also. Neither had they thought of any name by themselves. So the ward in which Kavita Patil was admitted, one girl was born. Their parents named her Aishwarya. What did they name her? So these parents liked this name very much, and they thought to themselves that they discussed among themselves that if we have a daughter, we will also name her Aishwarya. So did they plan and come with any name? No. Then what did they do? They copied the name from an existing name. So what did they write over here? Aishwarya Shailesh Patil, right? So these are the four scenarios which we can implement the constructor in. Okay? Now, types of constructors in Java. So the four constructors will target these four scenarios. So there is a constructor for each scenario. There is a constructor for each of these scenarios. So when I say types of constructors in Java, how many are there? Four, right? Okay. Now let's come to the first one. So first constructor is called default constructor. What is it called? So default constructor is gifted to you by Java. Is gifted to you by Java. So programmer does not have to write the default constructor. Default constructor who will write? It is already there in Java. That default constructor, how it will initialize the value. So if you have a class student you have these attributes: integer, roll number, string, sname, double, percentage, and if you have a boolean value, okay, true or false. So is he is his PNR active? Is what PNR what? After 5 years the PNR gets disabled. So you finish your engineering in 4 years. You have one more year of your PNR being active. So if you want to give any grade improvement, so let's say someone is 59% and he needs 1% to become first class. So he still has, even though he is a graduate, he can still request a grade improvement exam. And if he scores well, his grade will improve. And if he scores less, the better of the two will be considered. Best of two will be considered. So if he needs, in an exam he got 40, had he got 50, his percentage would become first class. So he appears for grade improvement. The first university will check, is his PNR active? After 10 years, if he realizes I need to go for grade improvement, and he goes to the university and fills the form, the university will check, is the PNR active? What will it say? True or false? True or false? So this is a boolean value. So now, default constructor, if I don't have any constructor in Java and I make an object using new keyword, student S1 is new student, okay? So there is no constructor I have written. Does my class have a constructor, guys? Does my class have a constructor? Class starts, class ends. Nothing is there. But I make an object using which new, have I used a new keyword over here? So an object will be made. Yes or no? Object of which class? Student class will have what attributes? Roll number, S name, percentage, and is PNR active. As I have not used any constructor by myself, Java will gift me a constructor. That is called as initialize all the integers to 0. All the integers to roll number will be 0. All the strings and objects to null. All the strings and objects to, so name will be null. Percentage double 0.0 and PNR active is boolean, so values will be initialized by whom? So like how that intern nurse had initialized nil xyz slash. So is these values appreciated? Yes. No. I will give a standard set of data to the class that please do not create object with these default values. Just create with some standard values. So what I'll do is I'll write a constructor in the class. So let's try to do it practically over here. Let's try to do it practically. So y'all are ITP Batch2. Okay, so let's do a. So today is Java day 5. So I'm going to make a new package, Java day 5. In that new package, I go and make a new class, student. Attributes, tell me, roll number, string, s name, private, double, percentage, and private boolean is PNR active. Okay? Now let me just make a display function. So void display student. And this will be what? Public or private? Methods are public. And how will I display? Sys out roll number is. And how to write this? This dot roll number or only roll number? Or student dot roll number? This, because it is a instance variable, correct? For each object, this value will be different. And then name is, percentage is, PNR, active status, S name, percentage, and okay. So class is done. Now I go to, is there any constructor in this class as of now? Yes, no, maybe. No. So we will be using the Java's default constructor. So I go to a class and I say driver app and I check main init and I go and make a student class object now. Student S1 is new student. So now if I display S1 dot display student means internally which constructor has been invoked, because I have used a new keyword to create an object. When I use a new keyword to create an object, it invokes the constructor. As I have not written any constructor by myself, then the default constructor of Java is triggered. So default constructor has been triggered, and then it will check the type of all the instance variables. So first instance variable is roll number. We'll initialize it with what? Because it's an integer variable. Second is string null. Percentage is double, 0.0, and boolean will be. So now if I directly display immediately after creation, it will show me all these values, correct? So right click, run as Java application, and these values, yes, no, maybe. So if I now create 2-3 objects, and if I ask to display, what will happen? So if that intern was in office and 3 kids were born, what will she write on the three kids name? The intern. What will she write on the 3 kids name of file's name? Nil XYZ, right? So now how many objects are born? Objects created. So what will be the output? Same. Okay. 0, null, 0, 0, null, 0, 0, null, 0. But now I don't want this. I want a uniform value now, a standard value. That whenever you create an object, please keep roll number as 1, name as Alice, percentage as 40.0, and status as true. Alice, I am giving a name for all my students. By default, I am calling them Alice. Or कोई नाम which you all feel is a default name. So if I don't know anyone's name, so if you are passing by a highway and you want to ask for address and you don't know what the person's name is, how will you address him? Whether she is male or female, you don't even know that also. So what is generic term you will? In the US they call Jack. In the US they call Jack. So I just met some Jack on the way and I asked him the address. I don't know what his actual name was, but I am addressing him as Jack. So I will name it as Alice. In our application, default name is Alice. So now I'll go to the class and I will write my own constructor and write the constructor at the top. Okay? The order of the function do not matter, but I write the constructor on the top. So public, and my name will be my constructor. My constructor name will be what? My constructor, correct guys? This will be the name of my constructor method. Yes or no? Who all say yes? Who all say no? Why no? Yes, constructor will always be with the name of the. So now I am saying a big thank you to the Java default constructor, and I am writing my own constructor. So once I write my own constructor, the Java default constructor will not be used anymore, and this constructor will be used. So what will this do? This will set the roll number to 1, this dot name to whatever name you all wish to give. You all can experiment with that, and this dot percentage, passing percentage is 40, so I'll assume everybody has got default passing percentage, and my default is PNR is okay. Now once I have written my constructor, now I go and create the objects. Will it hit default constructor or will it call my constructor? And my constructor which I have written, is the brackets populated or the bracket empty? This brackets of the, is it a parameterized constructor or non-parameterized constructor? Non-parameterized constructor we call as no args constructor. What we call as args. Okay, so you all can call it as non-parameterized constructor also. Whatever you all feel better while explaining the examiner. Which constructor will be called now? See, which constructor will be called? Just check the pattern. When I create this object after new keyword, I am writing the class name, and after that, am I passing any values in the brackets? Yes or no? So this will go and call the constructor which does not have anything in the bracket. This will call which constructor? No args constructor. Now instead of the default value, what will all of them get? 1 Alice 40 true. 1 Alice 40 true. Something better than the null one at least. Okay. Right click. Run as Java application. All are getting universal. So baby of, baby of, baby of was universal. So this is for all the objects. But now if I want a customized object, now I want a customized object. So when I make S4, I don't want it this. I want my own values. I want an object with roll number as 18, name as Virat, percentage as 78.5, and status as true. Okay. So now this, did I pass any values? So we'll call the constructor which did not have any values. Now this I am passing values. So what is the signature of these values? Order of these values? First is type. Int, string, double, boolean. How many of them? 4. And what order? Int, string, boolean, double. If I would write it like this, now int, string, boolean, double. Okay, so you have to remember in which order you wrote them. Which order is this now? Int, string, double, boolean. So you have to write a constructor in the class with this signature. That is called as parameterized constructor. So first will be what? Int, then string, next double, and then next, and then A will go in, A will go in B, A will go in, this A is 18, right? I want to store that into which type? Roll number. The B was the name, B will go in, and C will go in, and D will go in. So now when this is called as my parameterized constructor or all args constructor, what is called as? Taking all the arguments, no? Or what? Parameterized constructor. So now when I go and display S4, what will it display me? That customized object, right? Not this will display me the customized details. Okay. So these were made with no args constructor, and this was exclusively made with the. So I can pass my own constructor also. So now how many constructors does my class have? This is called as constructor overloading. What is constructor overloading? Now let's come the fourth scenario, the Aishwarya scenario. Now a new object is made as, okay, just let's make it interesting. Now if I make one more object S5 and if I change the order of this, now why is showing a red line? Because there is no constructor of int string boolean double. We have a constructor of int string double boolean. So if you want to make this, you can go and make this constructor also. So if you want to make this, your choice, but not required. Just for example sake I am showing. So what will you do now? Change the order over here. Okay? And now the error should vanish. Now the error is vanished. But this is not adding any value to the application. It's just the same thing, right? But the reason I am showing all this is the constructor, you should be very aware as to what the type and what order of what data you are passing while creating the object. Okay. So now you can give any other name over here. Okay. Now this student 6, which was getting created, like this name very much, Smriti. So he says, I want a copy of which object? S5. So now what type is S5? S5 is of what type? What type of value is S5? What type of value is A? What type of value is B? So you write the variable and before that write the type of that, right? So what type of value is S5? So you need to have a constructor in the class having student type object. Okay? So you go in the constructor, okay, and you will make a constructor having argument of what type? Student type. Okay, give any name to it. ST. So now which object has come into ST? Which object has come into ST? I have passed S5. S5 is of what type? So should come in the same type variable. ST is of what type? So ST is pointing to which object now? S5. So what is ST's roll number? What is ST's name? What is ST's? What is this? Is PNR active? What is X is percentage? So now what I'll do is I'll go and check roll number. Put ST's roll number. Name, put ST's percentage. Put ST's percentage. And PNR active, put ST's. So now I've got a copy of that object, same to same. So now if I go and display S6, what will it display me? Same as Smriti, correct? Save, run. So see, first 3 were made by no aux constructor. Then I made a customized one, this also and this also. There were 2 constructors, and then I made a clone of S5. So S5 and S6 are same. Making sense? So these are the various 4 types of constructors in Java. Who can tell them? So this is which constructor? Copy constructor. So in the parameter you have to pass an object of that class. Okay, and all args constructor you have to be aware of the signature. Okay, either you can write the constructor like this, or else you have the luxury of the editor. So I'll comment this out. Okay, you have the luxury of the editor. You can directly say right click, source, generate constructor using fields. Check on that. You want all the arguments and generate. So it will generate you the constructor. But this will generate which customer? Roll number, name, percentage, and PNR active. So there will be problem with S5, right? So I do a save. So see, this was valid, but this was not valid because roll number, string, boolean, and double. So go and uncomment that one. Roll number, string, boolean, double. So uncomment this so that the error gets resolved. You will have multiple constructors. Save it and the error gets vanished. So like this you can use your types of constructor. Understood, guys? Very good. So now